What's going down, Watchdogs Operative? Legions comes to us with a brand new 3.0 update. We're going to be covering the patch notes and the game-related news that comes into this awesome, fun-packed adventure of an episode. My name is Mac here at the MacGyver 7 channel, and we are going to slide right into the information station. So, first things to be pulled up for as far as what's going to be happening. So past the situation of what we have with our size, 15 to 10 gigabytes, depending on the various fixes, we slide down to the global fixes, as we can see what's going down right over here. Now, these certain sound effects, not playing when starting a new game and resuming and then pausing. There's also audio glitches that stuttered in an open world, players that became stuck in cinematics after taking Hamish in the Power for the People mission, on top of the crash due to audio bugs, loading in the world, exiting the main menu, even down to the point where objects to not update after the cinematic and lost and found mission. Now, a lot of these are definitely going to be mission specific as we slide down and see that there is the recruitment mission that would not be able to have you quit or crash the application in the first dialogue sequence and it's occurring. On top of that situation for the game freeze, switching between the phone and pause in the menu while interacting with the server and via spider bots, not Spider-Man, during these portions in the uprising missions. Now, on top of that, the issues for the neutralization of VIP markers to not follow the trigger portions and the elimination of those VIPs and the uprising mission again. So let's go ahead and scroll down and take a look at our other missions and what has been fixed. As you can see what is grayed out right over here, we can see that the fixed issues continue on with the clock tower and the puzzles to become impossible to complete after the drones. Yes, those dreaded drones and their shock portions that flew into the tower and becoming in the uprising mission, which was a huge fix inside of this. On top of that, the black screens that occurred during operatives that got hit after interacting from the start point of the race of the uprising. On top of that tower, you also see the issues that also were a black screen on top of the game freezing. This one's a little bit more hardcore to occur when the phone was paused in the menu right after interacting with the keyboard to hijack the chase drone during the uprising yet again. So we can also see the uprising brings down to the hijack the news drone, the objects and the incorrect portions. Basically what they've said is they fixed almost everything on the uprising, because you can see that the hijack CD drones also come into that with the rendering. You can also see that right below that the unable completed mission to destroy that drone. The drone was a big ass issue. On top of that, the players would occasionally spawn in different locations when leaving the walkie-talkie model. Finally, we're out of the uprising. I wanted to just highlight that because it seemed like it was just uprising. It's like, okay, cool. That's cool. You guys could have summed that up a little bit better, but we're going to sum it up here a lot better. As we can kind of see the next portion highlighted in blue, we can see that the football on top of the operatives could spawn in the allies inside the areas where they would be unable to follow the players. An issue where the ping functions would not locate personal drones through walls in the objects. I've had that issue. It's actually really annoying, especially during a clutch moment when you're trying to take out a whole bunch of other people trying to take you out. On top of the issues for as far as completing the portions of what brought down to the celebrity instead. So there are some more portions, and I want to sum this up really fast. We can see that there's issues with the photo. Not in the gallery for as far as the display and the remain. The missions in the board for as far as the way it would appear in the operatives, and swapping from that for as far as the Fox activity. Now inside of there, the issue is for the pedestrians on the sidewalks would not dodge the players' vehicles appropriately, getting out of the way. I've had that. They've literally jumped in front of a car, scared the crap out of me during a mission. Literally wrecked my car right after. It was hilarious. I mean, not hilarious that people digitally got hurt, but hilarious that I could walk away from that and not have to call a good neighbor. Looking at the situation for as far as the fixed issues in the civilians that would be starting the pings inside of the attempted flee, the protest leaders and the megaphone gadgets that would not affect the NPCs in the red zone. Issues also continue with the players that could easily escape high levels of those portions of the hiding in the subway. You just were not going to have those. It's just not going to be a good situation. For as far as Clan Kelly, coming down to the AI vehicles that would not appear in the red missions for as far as during the combat, and the issue players that got stuck in the operatives swapping the screens and their saves. Not be a good situation for as far as what we would be seeing after the last available operative died and the other operatives were unavailable. So that triggered a big issue. On top of the issues that continue, the clipping issues for as far as the visual gaps on several outfits and other apparel. Hopefully they fix it with the water, because that was one thing I did notice when they had ray tracing on it. It just looked really bad. At least that was for the PlayStation 5. Maybe they can do some stuff in the near future, make it look cool. On top of that, as we get down, before we go to the PC specific, we can see that the issues continue with for the Halo and Snake and the Viper going down to the situation of operatives and not going invisible. And that's kind of an issue, especially when you have that AR cloak and you've tricked it out. I've had some issues where unfortunately it's not triggered, so that's really cool that they've definitely given it some TLC. The issues go on to the prestige operatives that would be killed becoming in the active again, and the game was closed while the players was on top of the op swap and the death screen when the player was on perma. So that was not going to be a good situation. On top of the fixed issues with the black screen that could become appeared and the players unable to swap again for as far as the drunk or the last sober operatives, meaning they passed out. Let's see if there's any more of the operative portions which can come into it, but it seems like we're cleared that. For as far as investigating the stage, the object would not progress if the players opened and closed the team app and skipping the cinematics during the Moscow rules mission. On the other side of the keypad, that would respond into the players performing the operative swap during the safe house, entering the walk-up animation, and fix the issues that caused the podcast to come to reset in the vehicles that shortly after leaving it. Now PC, as we scroll down to see what is going down for what they've implemented in various qualities in the life improving portions of the user interface of PC, including several fixes to unclickable buttons. Yay, options are now options. On top of that, the fixed issues, and it goes down, decadent, for crashes and deleting saves, for games and booting in DirectX 12, for changing the options in the gameplay tab from the main menu, on top of crashes that continued with quitting the main menu and completing the mission, exiting the benchmarks and the video setting portions, attempting a hack in the person's vehicle car, a player that's last operatives down inside of the permadeath. You know what this feels like? Seriously? Have you taken this and been affected by this mission? It's literally like one of those disclaimers, like you might be entitled to patch notes. But moving on past that little hilarity of a bubble pop, as we get towards the 8-minute mark and we're almost done with this, we can see that PC portions go past the hack and the operatives, and the players are downed in the permadeath enabled. We can see that their incorrect default in the qualities and presets being selected on AMD's 6 series cards. On top of the data menu in the app for as far as Tobii device was not being able to be utilized. Pressing the continue button would always launch the first save slot, even if the players had recently saved in a different slot. MSI came down to the link that would not engage when quitting the menu when continuing the game. On top of the issues that were coming from the black screen that would appear when interacting with the tube station and simultaneously hacking the security cams, you saw the issues that caused the games to crash during the engine bugs. You saw the FPS drops and stuttering on the PC specific. We saw the portions of operatives in the states that would not be able to save their games while exiting on a forced operative swap out. Just really lame. Such as, operatives dying and arrested, passed out, etc., blah, blah, blah. On top of the issues where the HDR coming into just completely blacked out, you can also see that the artifacting also came down to it when enabling the HDR. Maybe that was something that was on consoles that they'll be fixing as well, even though they're saying PC specific. Maybe that'll be something in the future we'll be seeing on a 1.11 for most console people. Now, on top of the fixed issues, as we get towards the end, is we see the issues with the aim assist, where the area is now wider for a higher resolution screen. We can also see the camera shake was still occurring inside of the effects and turned on in the settings. You can see that the photo sharing and the features were unable on those borders in the different portions of what was brought. You can see that the issues were the temporary freezes when quitting the menu. This game is kind of a little bit of a hot mess. But as that hot mess comes to a very end and we start to get happy in this lovely sunshine that's going to break through the end of the patch notes, we can see that the issues past the freezing come down to the auto lock that would not be validly triggered on those objects for certain missions. On top of the issues were the options in the texturing resolutions and the confirmation message for as far as canceling the graphics settings. You can also see that the games were not being paused if the players were inside of the gallery screen with the Alt tab. On top of the issues were music would not play after switching in the spoken language. Auto drive would automatically disable when the players would hack another vehicle. Vehicles in the headlight shadows would immediately come down to the point of disappearing. We would see the portion of the intermediate point of the immediate points of disappearing for as far as what we would see inside of that. Going to the next portion, we have UI and dynamic lighting. And those are both going to focus on the Tobii UI for as far as the HUD. So when we get past that, for as far as the AMD cards, as we do the very last thing, those are going to be visual artifacts for as far as what's going to be visually there. So in short, what does this mean? They fixed a whole bunch of missions and they made it look a lot nicer. It should be running smoother and you shouldn't be having any issues with everything closing down. If you are, leave a comment down below because I want to hear what you have to show and what Ubisoft needs to work on next. If you're new to the network, you can always like, share, and subscribe. It helps me out as a creator and is absolutely free. Crack that Liberty bell straight down the center so you get all the notifications, and I will see you guys and gals in the very near future. Have a very nice day and see you there.